Hey Quincy, Professor Ball here. How's it going? During the course of the semester, you're going to get comments from me on your essays in a couple different ways. This time, you're going to get a video where I'm going to go over your paper with you, and then next time, you're going to get a feedback from me where I insert comments into your essay to help you. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, the first thing I do when I look at a paper is that I should have gotten prepared before I started talking. The first thing I'm going to do is I look at MLA format. So you have the information you need here, and here, and here, and here, so that's great. You have your title. You do have extra spacing between your paragraphs here, and here, and here. So to fix that, go to Paragraph in Microsoft Word, and on the left-hand side, it'll say spacing. Make sure the numbers are at 0, 0. And then on the right of that, because it's going to be in this box that's going to pop up, make sure it's at double. Because what happens if it's not at 0, 0, you may be double spacing it, but it adds like an extra third space for some reason. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so Samuel L. Jackson's use of rhetoric, that's fine. Maybe you could come up with something more creative. And it doesn't affect your grade, but he has so many great phrases like about snakes and Big Macs and gosh, all kinds of things. Just wondering if you could use something a little more creative. Okay, so social media is an amazing platform to the stars, business owners, or just anyone that wants to be heard. There are some accounts that entertain their fans so much that their followers are in the millions. Actor Samuel L. Jackson has a huge following on social media websites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Not only is he a phenomenal actor, but he is known for being opinionated, which is what makes this man even more interesting. Agreed. Via his Facebook page, you can also see some things about his personal life. He shares old pictures of his college days at Spelman, HBCU, and even some childhood memories, but makes them funny at the same time by using quotes above the pictures. If you were to follow him, you would see many posts, plural, using rhetorical strategies. So good. What you did was you introduced the topic of social media. You just didn't jump right into it and say Samuel L. Jackson does this, which is great. And then you introduced him, and then you do have your thesis statement, which is good. One thing is you could make it even more specific with using rhetorical strategies, like ethos, logos, pathos, kairos. One thing that I would mention to you is, hold on one second, let me see if I can get this here. One thing I would mention to you is be careful with the word you. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on how you use it. And I'm going to leave you a comment here. But when you use the word you, you're talking directly to the reader, which in this case would be me. And sometimes you could alienate your reader because they don't do what you are talking about. They have no interest in what you're talking about. It doesn't connect to them personally. And I'll give you an example. Years ago in a 114 class, I had a young lady, write in her essay, do you remember the first time you got your period? And she did that as a question because she had learned that when you start off with a question, that's a good thing because it captures the reader's interested attention. But we were in a small group and there was like 3 young men and 3 young ladies. And I turned to one of the young men and I said, hey, Stephen, do you remember the first time you got your period? And he looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So you could see that you can see that she tried to capture the reader's attention, but it doesn't apply to everybody. So here's a suggestion. What do you call the people that are following him on Facebook or Instagram? Their followers, their fans. That's a more specific way to address who it is you were talking about. Americans, young people, movie fans. You just be more specific. Okay, too much space here. Indent, you always want to indent the first line of each new paragraph. On June 28th, 2017, Mr. Jackson, shared a post with his followers which was meant to raise awareness for those affected by Alzheimer's disease. I think it's Alzheimer's, apostrophe S. In doing so, he is using pathos to persuade his audience on why it is important to him for them to help raise awareness. And by doing so, he is helping the Alzheimer's Association in the process. On this post, comma, Mr. Jackson can be seen wearing a purple hoodie and matching hat that reads, hashtag end alls. I'm sure people will want to buy this hoodie or hat, which can. Okay, so just proofreading, which will or which can help raise money for the association. Next to his picture in his awareness outfit, there's a quote in which he says, "You have to embrace and love those living with Alzheimer's. It's easy to cast them aside because you can't face, F-A-C-E, what's happening, but you can't do that." Sharing this quote, not only is he relating to someone affected by Alzheimer's, but he is still connecting with those that are reading to help with the cause. Good. So what you have here is you do have your point. You introduce pathos, you give an example of him making that connection, and then you explain the significance or importance of it, which is great. One thing that would make it even better is if you were to say in your explanation, but he's still connecting with those that are reading to help with the cause and using pathos. Just if you could use that term again, that would just strengthen your paragraph. I just saw minor punctuation here. So a comma after the 2017. There's in doing so, and by doing so, there was another one. Sharing this quote. No. That's okay. You're good. Okay. So spacing here, indent, spacing and indentation. Mr. Jackson also uses ethos when he posts that he is teaching online acting classes. Interesting. He says, "The only thing that comes close to my love for acting is teaching it to others in my master class." So you introduce your quote, which is great. Almost all the time, punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. So it would be masterclass, period, then close the quotations. Then, comma, next to it, he has the website, no comma. This is what you call a comma splice, which is where, which is where the comma is included, but it shouldn't be there. And again, this is minor. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to use my mouse here so I can mark the spot. Sorry. Okay, so comma splice. Okay. Then next to it, he has a website where anyone who aspires to learn acting can go on and get signed. You don't need a comma there either after acting. On the homepage of his website, it says, and you're doing really well with your quotations because you're introducing them. Just make sure that when you have a verb like says and then you have a quotation, it's verb, comma, quote, which is what this little box is that just popped up. Okay. As a kid, Samuel L. Jackson stuttered so badly that he stopped talking for almost a year. Wow. Then, comma, they go on to talk about his roles in very popular movies and awards that he has received by showing his credibility as an actor. This way, comma, future students will trust him and know that they're getting a good deal if they purchase the classes. Good. So this one's a little bit better with the explanation. I was going to say something. Ethos does not need to be capitalized. I know Kairos is capitalized in Microsoft Word, but those don't need to be capitalized. And these are minor things I'm pointing out. So on HollywoodReporter.com, it states, Samuel L. Jackson is the highest grossing actor of all times. Remember the period goes inside the quotation marks. They use logos so that you can believe the statement. So this is a comma splice so that readers, that's who they're reaching, Hollywood Reporter readers can believe the statement. Then they post Guinness World Record numbers to also back up his movie gross sales. It reads, movies made over $7.4 billion, wow, making him the highest grossing actor of all time. He does a lot of movies, too. This gives you an idea in numbers of how big of a deal he really is. Also, just in case you're wondering if he is in the top for highest paid actors. So good. Websites would be italicized. And again, that's just a minor, that's not major. But I'm just going to put that down there. Websites would be italicized because they're large works. Logos would be lowercase. Okay. Mr. Jackson uses Kairos, and I'm wondering, because you're referring him to Mr. Jackson, which is great because you're showing him that professionalism and that respect. What other ways can you refer to him? Like the Spelman graduate, the, I don't know where he's from, the California native, the father of 3, the grandfather of 6, the Academy Award winner, if he's won the Academy Award. try to vary your usage of Mr. Jackson. Okay. Uses Kairos by acknowledging other actors and actresses for their hard-earned work. On his Facebook, comma, he is seen posting about an actress that people are now just recognizing by stating, no comma, because it's not a verb there. I mean, it's not a quotation, so comma splice. He has always been impressed with how brilliant she is. He also posts a pic of a guy named Reg G. Cathy, who is an actor who starred in the Fantastic Four. So capital F, italics, because it's a large body of work, and who was a friend of his. There, he says, a beautiful talent left us for a more peaceful plane. Reggie Cathy, true thespian, sage, musician, and friend. I think this is great for Mr. Jackson because it shows a more vulnerable side of him when usually you get the more opinionated him, which I agree with you. So there's no first person with this, Quincee, so what I'm going to do here is, where did I put it? There is no reference to you in this paper. There should be no reference to you, like I, me, or my. So you can just get rid of it. This is great for Mr. Jackson because, no comma, it shows a more vulnerable side of him, no comma, when usually you get the more opinionated him. So then you do it again. So get rid of the I. You could say something like, to be more effective with his rhetorical strategies, he should use more kairos. So just get rid of the I and have a lot more softer moments. If a viewer logs onto his page, they could just judge him off all the negative posts because not everyone will do research on an entire Facebook profile. Most people only look at a few posts. Good. So I see you taking that extra step with the prompt where you talk about what he could do to be better. Remember to indent your paragraphs. So Samuel L. Jackson is a social media icon, even though he is already a successful actor. He is someone to follow with his use of kairos, pathos, logos, ethos. You forgot ethos. Did you do ethos in the body of your paper, though? I think you did. Did you do ethos? Yes, you did. Okay, good. Make sure you include that in your thesis. His page is on fire. I like that. If it isn't just him alone using rhetoric, you will see a ton of fans and Facebook users being opinionated right along with him. Mr. Jackson entertains from A to Z, whether he is on a movie or sharing his thoughts on a topic. Good. You respond well to the prompt. I just found the title of your essay, though. Entertaining from A to Z. What do you think? I like it. Okay, let's look at your works cited page. So for your works cited page, it's all right. I'm going to put a link in the comment box. This would be all the way over on the left, and then every second, third line would be tabbed over. If you use any Facebook posts, you would actually include the text from the Facebook posts. If you're just using websites, that's good too. But for example, you do the Hollywood Reporter. Who else do you use? Hollywood Reporter. Oh, his website that he has on his website for teaching. Do you have that? You don't have that. So you'd want to include the website that he has that he talks about his teaching classes. I can't imagine taking a class from online. That'd be great. And then where did he share this following post? If it's Facebook, then here on the works cited page, you would have a very specific post with the date when the post was done and the wording from the post. But you respond well to the assignment, and what I'm giving you this feedback for is to help you with your next paper. And also, you're going to be doing an error log in the next week or two where you go in and you fix all the little things that I'm talking about. And there are higher order concerns and lower order concerns. The higher order would be if you're missing a thesis or you need to strengthen your thesis. A lower order concern would be if you needed to fix, your comma usage. So just be aware of that. But overall, I think you did a great job. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay? Thank you. I have 22 seconds to go.